if you get divorced and then see love at first sight, you might want to give it like 5 Mississippi or something.
Yeah, sure. You're a little bit like you never want to go into something with the idea that somebody will save you.
Yeah.
What was the deal with your wife? Was she also a Mennonite?
Oh, hello. This is Ben.
Hi. Who is this?
Oh man. Hey, Geck.
Hey.
This is John. How you doing?
John. What's up, John? How's life, brother? Have we ever spoken before?
No, man. I tripped over your thing. I was like doom scrolling on some terrible political crap, and there was like this green guy talking about people, and I think someone was hiding boogers under their desk, and I could not get enough.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, man.
Rock and roll.
Bro.
And roll. Honored
Legit,
to.
I'll tell you, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have been spiraling on like trying to like help people and give them advice. And one of the big things I've been telling everybody is like, dude, you got this problem, you should go to therapy. I've never gone to therapy. And I'm listening to you constantly say, I'm a good dude in a green whatever. Maybe you could talk to someone who actually gets into this more. And I was like, that's a great point. So I've been doing therapy for the past like 3 months, and it has been bomb ass great.
Really?
I'm so happy, dude. Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's awesome. How's it been helpful for you?
Well, I think first off, when someone gives you an opportunity to listen a lot, it gives you enough rope to start kind of hanging yourself.
Yeah.
And so when I say something, and I'm like, well, I'm a good person, but then I start like listing all the behaviors I have, and it's like, okay, well, I'm kind of compromising my values there.
Yeah.
It kind of puts a bigger spotlight on it. And I have a therapist who's really good at just like letting me do that. And I'm pretty just talk a million miles an hour anyway. So, dude, the number of times she just kind of says, well, you just said this and this, which one are you? And it's like, well, not that I have to choose one necessarily, but I realize I'm a very complex, contradictory person, and not necessarily in a bad way.
And it says here you're 41 years old. Is this your first time doing therapy in all 41 years?
Yeah, I had a stint where growing up, I had a lot of problems with depression, and I ended up with I guess it was a doctor, and they did prescribe me some antidepressants that honestly were very helpful and kind of kick-started me and got me out of my bedroom because I was just laying around in a fetal position all the time. And I thought, well, that cured that. I don't really need to talk about my feelings or my family or, am I in love with my mother or whatever, that weird psychologist crap. And I just kind of plowed ahead. So meanwhile, it seemed like a good idea, and I just have too many fears that I'm going to talk to someone who's going to judge me, or they don't get where I'm from, or they're just going to give me bad advice and, probably doesn't get covered by insurance or blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a waste of time. They're going to make it worse. So I've just kind of been doing self-help books like a mofo for like, I don't know, 20 years. And it's fun to read. And, a lot of that's very applicable.
So,
but, man,
I mean, well, I'm curious, I guess, what are you working on? What are you trying to change?
Well, most of it's trying to stop and recognize where I'm at or what I actually want. Mm-hmm. Like I'm single, and I've been really bad at being single. Like it feels so much better to just have someone next to you who can support you, say you're attractive,
What does that mean being bad at being single? Do you mean you're like, you just don't like it?
Yeah, I just get really anxious. I just want to fix that. It's a problem. I shouldn't be single. I'm kind of a lover. Like I just walk around and tell people how great they are all day. It's like the best thing. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, the part where I'm alone, it's like I kind of have this picture of like the atomic family being the perfect ideal. That really stood out to me when I got divorced and realized I had crushed the dream or whatever, which I had to ask myself, like, well, the dream was a husband and wife who hated each other and we're screaming at each other. And it was a terrible household to be in. So choosing, do I want to look like something out of a 70s family poster but scream, when everyone leaves? Or do I want to learn how to, have boundaries and have a little bit of self-respect, even be alone? And I kind of go with I should be alone. And then I get impatient with it and I just run and find somebody to make me feel better about myself.
How long you been single for since the divorce? Or I guess, I don't know if there were anyone in between, but how long you been single for these days?
It's been a journey. Like, my first marriage was 10 years. The second one was 3.5 years. And I've dated a few people since. I think this is the longest I have not dated somebody. And it's been about 5 months now, something like that, give or take.
The longest you've not dated somebody since
I was married.
Okay. How old were you when you started dating the woman you married? This is the first person I ever dated. We were 20. Wow. So, okay.
Yeah.
And so you were together from 20.
I came from
Go ahead.
It was normal to get married at 20 for that group. By 21, you should have a couple kids and be procreating like crazy.
What is that group?
So my parents were kind of, interestingly enough, not Christian growing up necessarily, but they both became non-denominational Christians, and then they became Southern Baptist Christians, and then they became Mennonites, which are kind of like Amish, but they have cars, they use computers, but they don't do video games or CDs or that kind of thing. The women wear head coverings and dresses, and the men go and do construction work and do simple living kind of thing. I was pretty tempted. I will say simple living takes a lot of the complexities out of your life and gives you a lot more community. But I'm just not quite Nebraska is not quite my speed or lifestyle.
How old were you when you sort of deflected away from that community?
So I probably, when I was about 22. So for about 4 years, I wasn't officially a Mennonite. I wasn't in the club, but I wore what they wore and I kind of followed the rules. And meanwhile, I felt like I wanted to be a little more immersed in the world. They're a little more about kind of living their own life. They're not commune kind of stuff, but they're definitely separated from most of society. And I'm more of a people person. So that's kind of where I wanted to go, get into child education and counseling. And I ended up doing an after school program with kids that lived in projects in rural Wyoming.
Where'd you go right after when you were 22, right? When you decided you did not want to be a Mennonite? I almost said Mennonite, who's a character from Kirby, but go ahead.
Yeah, I need to catch up on that. So my family, Mennonites are not all over the place. So they found a local chapter that was in Nebraska. And like I said, Nebraska wasn't my speed. I ended up moving to Wyoming, which we had lived there a bit before. So I ended up in the middle, and we like to call Wyoming nowhere, and I was literally in the middle of it. So it was just kind of rural area. I lived on an Indian reservation and just kind of hung out with simple folk out there.
And what was the deal with your wife? Was she also a Mennonite? And did she come with you to do all this?
So she was a nurse. So she was not a Mennonite. And it wasn't forbidden love or anything. And we kind of had seen each other from across the way. And I don't know, she read, when you're in a rural town and someone reads books, it's kind of oh my God, there's 10 of us. Not to say that rural America is illiterate, but most of my peers were wrestling and playing football and high-fiving and stuff. And I don't know, she was someone who just wanted to talk about her feelings, and we had a lot in common that way. And so if everyone else is that different from you and that one person is that much the same, it's like, well, man, we must be like perfect for each other because we both read books. And that was a little silly.
And so did she come with you when you left Nebraska?
Yeah. So, yeah, we both actually, there was a small junior college in Wyoming, and I worked their IT department, and she, there was a nursing program there. So she actually got to practice and be in the area. And she's actually still there. I left and moved to Oregon.
So what
didn't hold up?
I mean, so look, I'm sure you talked about this a billion times, and you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. But you know, how do you think things deteriorated?
Man, yeah, I appreciate the flexibility or the choice, but I'm very open book about it. And if anything else, I actually just talked to someone about this because they also were a Christian who just went through a divorce, and they were sitting there trying to figure out how they were going to take care of their children. You know, they were no longer a contributing member of society because they broke their vow. And, you know, I like to speak of it and say, like, we do things that hurt people and hurt ourselves sometimes, and it's not the end of the world. You trip and fall over, you do have to get up. And meanwhile, like, I tripped and fell over partly because, well, I ended up in an emotional affair where one of my wife's friends really liked getting attention from me, and it felt weird and just kind of shrugged it off. And I, at the same time, was partnered with somebody that was not, I wouldn't say she was asexual, but we did not have physical intimacy, and that was kind of tough. So in came her friend to try to fix us, and it ended up being a huge manipulation play, and it hurt all three of us. Like, it was what do you
mean? What do you mean when you say the friend came in to try to fix you?
Well, so we were having really terrible sex, and my partner wasn't having an orgasm, and I could kind of tell. And I was like, "Hey, I saved myself for marriage because I wanted to give you a great relationship, and part of that is a physical one." Mm-hmm. And she really just didn't want to open up about it, and she was very uncomfortable talking to me about it. And so she kind of confided in her friend that, you know, while she really cared about me, the physical, sexual part was something she wasn't necessarily comfortable with. She didn't know what to do. And this person was like, "Oh yeah, I've had sex all the time. It's great. Let me try to help you out." And she kind of tried to help both of us out, but it ended up being she just kind of wanted to get my attention, I think.
What now when she says let me help you out, what is that? Is she being like, let me fuck your husband to get, or let me fuck you, let's do a three? What is that? What does let me help you out mean?
So it was really like, because she was older, it was more like, let me talk to you about it, or try to explain some of this. And so she was trying to like introduce her to toys, or, you know, self-pleasure, or some of this other stuff. So on paper, no, she was not like, "Oh, let me just reach over and jerk him off while you watch." But over time, there became more opportunities. Well, not opportunities, but she made these places where, like, "Oh, how about you and I talk about this a little bit? Let's just talk about this a little more, and what I like. Oh, by the way, here's how I enjoy having sex, or I'm going to start touching myself, and you can see how it works." And it was like, I at that point knew what was happening was totally wrong, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I was like, "Hey, this woman is sexually aroused."
There's a
cool
family.
I've never seen that before.
There's a Family Guy episode where I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's a Family Guy episode where Peter and Lois buy this like couples counseling videotape. And they're in bed together watching the videotape, and the woman on the videotape says, "Now this is the part where the wife can leave the room, and I'm just going to talk to the husband." And so Lois leaves the room, and then the rest of the tape is just the woman like taking off all of her clothes, and it's a porn. And this kind of reminds me of that Family Guy episode.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I have always kind of been attracted to older women. Like my first crushes were like Mary Poppins and my friends' moms. And so this part where this older woman was like, "Oh, I'll kind of talk to you about sex," and then also like, "I'm gonna wear super low cut tops and just flirt with you a lot and like say you're special," but all like this is. And believe me, I know exactly the episode you're talking about, and that definitely I was like, "Oh my god." That was supposed to be a stupid joke, and it's like it's literally real.
So
I don't know.
Now, when you say emotional affair, does that mean like? I mean, did you and this older woman have sex?
Man, not that I actually wish I did, but I kind of figure I got in enough trouble. I might as well have. I literally didn't though. No, like physical end pleasure whatsoever. I really didn't want to sleep with another woman other than my wife, and I really refused to do that.
Okay, so you did not cheat on your wife.
Not with my penis. That's true.
So it was just you were forming this emotional connection with this woman, in a way that your wife did not know about.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, they kind of talked about it. Like, there was one point where I was watching TV and they were having some kind of like sexy pillow party in the other room. And they're like, "Ben, you should come join us." And I was like, "Oh, no way am I going in there." And they both grabbed me and they were like wrestling with me. And I was like, "This is ridiculous." And I guess they're just trying to mess with me. So from stuff like that, I would ask my wife, like, "Does that seem normal to you? Like that seems like a bit much." Like, again, the Family Guy episode. It's like, is this the
was your wife also into this woman?
I don't know a lot about my ex's sexual interests, to be honest. Like, could she be somewhere on the spectrum of not just cisgen? Possibly, but she really never opened up to me about it, so I don't know. But I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, I kind of wondered, like, because she didn't seem to be really into me, but like, she liked me. We were really good friends.
So this led to the end of that marriage.
Yeah, it did not work out after that. The part where our friend started touching herself and having orgasms in front of me, I was like, okay, that's wrong. We've actually gone too far. And meanwhile, I was like, there's no way I can tell my wife about this. And I hid it from her for about 6 months, but it bothered me so bad that one day it like came out, and she was mortified and really upset. And I think her explanation is like, not telling me was even worse than the fact that it happened. And meanwhile, it was very difficult to find any kind of trust, or we didn't have a lot of tools. Frankly, we were both very immature children at the time.
How old are you guys?
Boy, that must have all fallen apart. Together for 9 years. I was probably like 29, 30.
Okay.
By the time it all blew up. And I would say that my relationship and marriage was pretty unhealthy, so I didn't do a lot of growing from 20 to 30. You mentioned at
the beginning of this call that there was a lot of like screaming and fighting and stuff. Was that this marriage or was that the second one?
It was kind of more my second, but I would say that there was a lot of times where I just didn't know how to emotionally regulate. That was not something that I learned how to do until I was like 35. I'd say that it's crazy how many books are out there that have like really basic information on just the breathing, that can help a ton with that kind of stuff.
You didn't feel like you knew how to emotionally regulate until you were 35.
Yeah, I had some ideas.
How do you define emotionally regulating?
Well, a lot of it for me is being able to understand when I'm not happy. If something displeases me, I mean, at first it's just going to annoy me. Eventually, if I leave it there, it's going to drive you crazy. I have a daughter, and as an example, like a kid starts playing on a recorder, and the first 2 times you hear a tweet, you're like, okay, I guess she needs to learn this thing for practice. by the time she's walking up to you, she's blowing the thing in your ear, and you're like, bro, you got to stop. And you start yelling. It's like, well, I probably should have said something a minute ago. Like the first 3 tweets where it was just too loud, we should have had a conversation. And being able to look into yourself and say, you know, I really don't like this. This is not okay. This, you know, compromises my values, or, you know, I feel disrespected. You can say that right up front. And I was a very non-confrontational person. And my dad was the only person who taught me how to confront people, and it was by screaming. So I either don't say anything about it, or I lose my shit. And I had to find the medium ground to say, I am not happy, but also I'm not freaking the fuck out right now. That's kind of, it's managing something before it's a crisis.
The ability to identify and communicate your feelings.
Yeah.
And so,
no shame or judgment.
When did you have your kid?
I had my kid, and that was the second marriage, actually. So I would have been about 30. I'm bad at math. She's 9 years old. So 9 years ago, I had a baby.
Okay. Is it just the one? Does she have a brother or sister?
Her mom has a son and daughter. So she has a half brother and sister. But she's the only child that I have.
Okay. How is being a father?
Oh, dude. You know, I never wanted to procreate, really. Like, it never occurred to me that I should have more little me's walking around. But my partner really wanted one. It was very important to her, and I thought, hey, why not? And meanwhile, I wouldn't say it changes you as a person in terms of, like, some parents will say, like, well, you don't know till you're a parent. Like, actually, most of it's pretty common sense, and it doesn't, like, give you, like, special ability to do, like, parenting calculus that other civilians don't know. But it is the coolest shit ever. And I'm super proud that my daughter is basically me. Like, she has so many of the joyful expressions and sharing, and she's very emotionally in tune with people. I can tell when I'm getting extra frustrated that she notices, and she'll just, like, come up and pat me on the shoulder and tell me I should breathe. Like, she's doing much stuff to, like, manage emotions and other people's emotions at 9, you know, that I didn't figure out till I was like 35. I mean, the world's kind of going in crazy directions, but
sure.
I'm very hopeful in the next generation in terms of them having better tools to manage their life.
So when you got, all right, so you break up with your first wife because of this hot old lady.
Yeah.
And then when do you meet your second wife?
So in announcing that I wanted to get divorced from my first wife, I was really depressed. I went to this bar and I sat there and I just had a couple beers. And my future wife was serving the bar right there. And she talked to me about the whole thing and listened really well, was very empathetic, and was very concerned because I was bummed and I was drinking. And so for her to just be like, hey, don't do anything stupid. You know, you need to chill out. What the fuck's going on? And really helps turn me around. And it was probably one of the more, like, considerate, non-judgmental people to kind of, like, listen. And I ended up applying for a job to be a cook there just so I could spend more time with her and the whole group at that bar. And it allowed me to spend time with her and fall in love. And it was a pretty heavy rebound. Like I said, I did not wait long to just, like, get divorced and straight up go next door to the next person who happened to be single. Turns out that's usually not a good thing. I'm sure someone has had love at first sight, and it's been fantastic. But if you get divorced and then see love at first sight, you might want to give it, like, 5 Mississippi or something.
Yeah, sure. You're a little bit like, you never want to go into something with the idea that somebody will save you. Yeah, that's for sure. I would say that was something I always put in my dating profile. I was like, I'm not looking to be saved or save.
Like I just want to experience people, and I want to appreciate people.
Did you meet this? I was gonna say. So what were you guys fighting about?
Well, I believe that, she did eventually get diagnosed with this, but when she got pregnant, she became a very unhappy, angry person, to the point of yelling and throwing things. And she was convinced I was sleeping with the secretary at work. I mean, quite literally, the most cliche of things. And I was like, man, I mean, like, I moved all the way across the country with you to Oregon. You know, I have a baby on the way that I couldn't be more excited about. And you're worried that I'm going to mess it all up with someone at a front desk. She would not be dissuaded. My best friend actually ended up calling me because she used to call him to see if I was doing any of the stuff. And he was like, maybe you should just sleep with the secretary because she seems to think that you have, and you might as well. Which
Jesus.
At the time was hilarious, and I appreciated the not taking the whole thing too seriously, because I wasn't. I mean, I was too tired to try to move my family across country and like not get fired. Like I was kind of risking a lot. And ultimately, we were yelling in front of my daughter, and I was like, I will never do that again. You know, my parents did that to me, and I was like, my kids should think that being around me is the safest thing in their life. And if I'm compromising that, I will stop. I will do anything to stop that from happening. So I separated. I moved into a garage and refused to talk to her unless we had counseling. And we talked about it. We worked through some things, but ultimately she was not going to let that go. And she was very angry. And it was a long time later that she went to a doctor, and they're like, oh yeah, you have postpartum depression, like really bad. And even that news to her was terrible because it meant she was quote unquote crazy, but it actually helped a lot because then she realized I can get help for this. This feeling of anger isn't because someone did me wrong. It's because I'm sick, and there's something I can do to manage that. So, I mean, fortunately we're amicable, you know, because we share a child. It's important that you work together and take care of a human life. So sometimes we're a lot better at making that the priority than trying to slight each other today than we were before.
So whose garage were you living in?
Well, it was the house we were in. She got the house, the kids got their bedrooms, and I just lived in the garage on the floor. Which, I don't know. I hate beds for some reason. When I was single, like in high school and stuff, I preferred sleeping on the floor. In fact, being single right now, I am yet again living in my garage on a mat on the floor because it's simpler for me. I don't know.
So what's next for you, man? What are you well, let me ask, are you enjoying life?
Yeah, I am. There's that saying that they say, like, when you're young, you're broke, but you have all the time and energy in the world. And then when you're middle-aged, you're not broke. Oh boy, lost track of thought.
You have less time.
You have money, but you don't have. Yeah, you definitely don't have time, but you have some energy. And then when you're old, you definitely have money, but you don't have the energy at all.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely in that situation where I can overcommit myself really easily. But meanwhile, I'm working to make myself a less of a footprint. Like, I'm using the garage to literally shrink my living space to see like how many cubic feet I actually need in order to do my day-to-day life, and then try to find a place that fits that effectively. Because if I have less to take care of my own, then I can kind of go out and do things. And I would really like to be a photojournalist. You have ever heard of like Humans of New York?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I think I've seen some videos of like how he does that. And I take a lot of public transportation here in Portland, and I have some kind of sticker on my face that says like, come talk to me, because every person that just, all the people are like, boy, I hope they don't talk to me. They definitely talk to me. And I don't know, there's a human inside, and you hear all these different experiences, and, you know, from 20 feet away, you're like, wow, That guy just smoked crack and he's going to punch me if I get anywhere close. And then when he does, he's like, hey, did you know about my daughter, Jesus Christ? I was like, no, tell me more. And then all of a sudden I hear about how this guy is a proud father and his daughter is actually like a really cool CEO, something or other. And he, taught her how to work hard, but now he just can't handle it. And he prefers just being crabby on the streets and yelling at people.
What do you do for work in Portland?
So I do IT, computer work, and I'm actually a manager. So I work with kind of like data nerds and, techie people and programmers. And I'm kind of the guy that tries to connect the dots or enable people to get the most out of their day.
Well, so John, you've come a very fun journey from Mennonite who does not use any technology to being an IT guy. That's a fun journey.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. I'm living my best dad life. The other positive thing I'd say about having a kid is you can tell bad dad jokes because you're a dad. It's your job.
So exactly.
Everyone should try it. Don't wait till you have kids.
John, thanks for sharing this story, man. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad you're going to real therapy. I'm glad that you're living a life where you're really prioritizing your kid. I mean, that's such a fucking important thing. A lot of people I feel like they'll have kids and they don't realize that it's, when you have kids, it's like it just has to be the most important thing, it's just not something to fuck around with, and it doesn't sound like you're fucking around with it. So I'm very very proud of you for that.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, I'm fucking up a lot, but I think the best thing a parent can do is acknowledge that and just try to do better later. It's totally okay.
Is there anything else from your story, or just in any stuff or things that you want to say to the people before we go?
Man, I love that I got to talk to a green gecko therapist. My life is complete. Not really.
I love that I got to talk to a man living in his garage in Portland named John.
Yeah, dude, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure talking to you too, John. Good luck, and I have faith in your further prosperity. I truly do.
You too, Geck. You're doing God's work.
Later on, man.
Kisses. Bye.
I mean, I like that sometimes if someone's talking to me and I find their life interesting, especially if they're a little bit older. I know our podcast skews, kind of towards people in their 20s. So I'm really happy to hear from a caller who's a little bit older and has a life to share. And I like these calls. I like hearing people's life stories because life is such a crazy non-linear thing, and there's no book on how to do it definitively. So one of the things you can do is listen to other people tell their life stories and glean whatever useful information of what to do or not do based off of what you hear other people say about their lives. And that's one of the fun things about interviewing people and doing this show. Those are my post-call thoughts. Attention listeners of the Therapy Gecko podcast. Did you know that I do a live version of this podcast on stage, in person, in front of real people, and that I'm doing this live show in several cities across the United States this year, and that tickets are available right now at therapygeckotour.com or at the link in the episode description? It is all true. I'm currently on my third tour doing Therapy Gecko live all around the country, and it is the most fun, sick, amazing thing ever, and you should come out and be a part of it. The shows involve a mix of material and presentations from myself, combined with a group gecko therapy session where members of the audience come on stage to share things from their lives in front of a big group of people, just like we do here on the podcast. Whether you're a fan of the podcast or you have no idea what this is and you clicked on it by accident, you're going to have a great time at the live show. Once again, tickets are available right now at therapygeckotour.com or at the link in the episode description. These are really fun shows. They're always wild. They're always unpredictable. And I hope to see you guys there.
Hello.
Hello.
Is this Big Daddy Lyle?
Sure is.
Wait, I'm freaking out. How's it going?
It's going okay. It's all, you know what is crazy is, at any given time, I can just decide that, everything is going amazing. I sort of believe that. I think as my faith in that idea ebbs and flows, but, lately it's been flowing. What's up with you? What's up with you? What are you doing?
I'm good. I just saw you were streaming. And I was like, I gotta tune in to my favorite Gek.
I'm so honored to be your favorite lizard. Thank you very much. Who's with you in the back? Someone's yelling.
Yeah, it's my girlfriend. She's very
Hello. Hi.
Very excited that we got on.
All right. Well, I'm glad she's in the room because she deserves to know about this. I mean, not really. Who gives a shit? All right. You texted me and you said I have spent $5,000 on in-game skins. Let's start with this. What game is this?
Oh, man. The thing is, I'm even embarrassed to say. League of Legends. Which
League of Legends?
I'm sure you've heard of.
Well,
Yes, sir.
okay. Well, this is my opinion as somebody who's never played League of Legends in his entire life, has no idea how it's played, just by looking at the screen. All the little guys that, like, it's an RTS, right? It's like it's like an RTS sort of fucking thing. The little guys are so tiny. The little guys that you command around are so tiny that you don't even get to look at the cool skin that you bought. They're such a tiny little guys that you put in the clothes.
What do you mean? Yeah, no, you can. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean,
like when you play Street Fighter, or like Fortnite, and you're buying like a cool alt. when you buy like a cool alt costume, like your character takes up a lot of screen real estate. But in a MOBA, it's like buying clothes for your pet ants.
Sure. No, I mean that makes sense. I see what you're saying. But it makes me happy when they're in a pretty cute outfit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do you have a lot of money?
I have a lot of money to spend when I'm feeling cute. Is what it is.
Are you in? Tell me this. Are you in financial turmoil?
No, I mean, like, the thing is, like, I've done well for myself. I come from money, but I've never had it given to me, I guess. Like, right. So once I hit, like, the college phase of my life, I was, like, cut off. So all the money that I've, made on my own, I've spent it on things that I enjoy, which are pretty little skins for my little pals.
What do you do for a living?
I work in finance.
You work in finance?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're not like are you in any gambling debt or anything like that?
It's so funny.
The way he asked that,
It's so funny. No, but I have, like...
That would have been really funny if you guys... That would have been really funny if just now you were like, oh my god, the way he asked that. That's so funny. No, but seriously, I am in several $1,000s of gambling debt. I'm glad the answer was no. I'm glad the answer was no to that question.
Speaking of which, that's why that's why I'm calling in. I just wanted to take out a loan in the Lyle business. No, but so to give you some background, I recently moved to New York, which gambling is now legal. So like I've been dipping my toes in, and I'm terrible. Like it's just awful. So I've decided.
There's no way to be good at it, really. I mean,
No.
they're games of chance. You literally can't be good at it.
That's true. That's true. Have you? Well, I know you. Actually, I'll just say yes because because I listen to you every day and heard some ads for.
What's the question?
What is it? No, sorry. It was to say that you do you gamble at all?
I have I've gambled like when I go to Vegas. I'll play one. Not even any. No, I was about to say when I go to Vegas, I'll play one slot machine, but that's not true. I actually went to Vegas one time when I was in Vegas. I played the slot machines, but I'm not a gambling person at all. I'm not. I don't.
Do you do any
gamble.
shows in Vegas?
Say again?
Have you done any shows in Vegas?
Yeah, I've done two shows in Vegas. They were both really, really fun. Shout out Wise Guys Comedy Club.
Yeah.
But
wait, when are you coming to New York?
When am I coming to? September 6th. Get tickets. TherapyGeckoTour.com.
Oh, that's my birthday month. We gotta go. We gotta buy.
You gotta go. Yeah, you gotta go, dude. No, it's gonna be sick. I'm here now, so I'm just gonna walk over there. It's gonna be awesome. No, that one's gonna be fun. You should go. Okay. Gambling. You gamble.
Oh, you live in New York?
I live in New York. Come to the Bell House, September 6th.
No way.
TherapyGeckoTour.com. What part of it? Where are you?
I don't want to.
What's your? Give me your home address, or I'm ending the call right now.
I'm in Manhattan.
Oh fuck, dude! You live in Manhattan and you're spending $5,000 on League of Legends skins. How rich are you? That's the most rich. That's the richest thing I've ever heard.
First of all, I've been playing League for like 10 years, so this is accumulated over time.
You know what? You know what? $5,000 on League of Legends skins over the course of a decade is not crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not crazy at all. I thought you dropped it all at once. I guess.
I mean, that would be insane. But as a fellow gamer, I feel like you would understand. But because I know you're into Smash, which is
yeah. But here's the thing though. I spend money on games.
Yeah, fair.
Fair. The games themselves.
What's the best game that you played recently?
The best game I played recently is the remake of Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, yes, I heard you talking about it. Was it?
Oh yeah.
You like it?
Every time I'm in the middle of playing a video game, I'll talk about it a lot on the podcast because I can do whatever I want on here. Oh, it's fun. Hold on. You keep deflecting to me while we haven't quite gotten into what's wrong with you.
Fair enough.
Do you want to share anything more about that, or we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but do you have anything more to share about that?
It really just it's fine. If I'm playing a character that I really enjoy at the time, I'll just buy a skin. And I like making my character look great. The idea of in-game skins really enjoys me because it's just it's nice,
especially if you're playing something that
Can
I ask you a question?
Of course.
Do you buy clothes?
Real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, in real life. Do you buy clothes in real life? I appreciate you guys are laughing at everything I say, but I think that, I don't know if that's a funny question.
No, it's a good question. It's a great question. I don't.
You don't. So you
No.
buy more clothes for the little League of Legends guys than you do for yourself.
That's the thing, because I spend more time playing
Than you do outside.
than I do outside. It's true.
Well,
It is
goddamn.
true.
You know, that's
Goddamn.
live your life. I was last night I was playing Paper Mario and I had this genuine thought that I every time this will happen when I'm playing video games, I'll think like I'm slowly dying. I try to think about the fact that I try to think about the fact that I'm slowly dying, and this is like my life. This is the little bit of time. This is the little flash of time that I get to experience. You know, however, and it's not guaranteed even, but like this is my little flash of time in the infinite timeline of everything that ever was and everything that will ever be. You know, I'm right here. It's a very special time. What am I doing with that time? Is it fucked up that I'm playing video games right now? I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? In that little flash of time, I'm fucking honored to be sitting here playing Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door. I used to like, guilt myself a little bit, maybe going like I could be doing something else, but like honestly, if this was the last thing if someone came in my house and shot me in the fucking head, and like a bullet hole went through the switch in my head, and I died. I could definitely be like, you know what? I got to do it. I did it. We did it. That was a good way I regret nothing. Is I guess what I'm saying. I don't regret the time. I'm honored to be playing Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door, in this speck of my existence.
And I completely agree. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I've been like introspective about like life lately, and I think that like if you want to spend your time how you want to spend it, and like if that's what brings you joy, then why the fuck not? Like, there are plenty of other people out there not doing things that they don't enjoy. So like, spend your life how you want to. And if Paper Mario, which banger game, by the way.
Oh yeah.
If you're like enjoying your time and you're not hurting anyone else, like fucking do whatever you want. But anyways, I think that's such a great thing, doing what you enjoy. And like, if that is playing Paper Mario, then hell yeah. Then if it's spending $5,000 on skins, then you fucking do it. You know?
Do you enjoy doing finance?
No. No.
Do you make a lot of money? Do you make a lot of money doing it?
To a lot of people, probably. Then yes. I would say I do. I make decent money. Like,
okay.
Do I enjoy it? Do I think like you have to get a degree to do what I do? No.
Are you? You're not. Absolutely. Are you an investment banker?
No, I'm not.
Do you?
But
do you fuck up the economy?
Are you just trying to guess what I do?
I'm trying. Yeah. Do you do something that is not real? Like hedge funds, something? I'm not gonna this is not a time for me to give social economic critiques because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm just curious.
No, I don't work in the money side, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I thought that's what finance means, money.
And like, working for investment firms doesn't particularly mean that you are a banker, or like you can work on like many different sides of working in banking, if that makes sense. There's multiple places. So like you can work in HR. So like technically, maybe I'm being misleading saying that I work in finance, but like I work.
Do you work in HR?
No, I'm not.
You work for an investment firm.
Yes. So I just say I work in finance. It makes
do you?
Easier. But like,
do you serve lunch to people there?
No, I do not. I work in the more legal part.
You're a lawyer. You're a lunch lady lawyer.
Yes.
That's cool.
I serve the meatloaf at lunch, and that's
so.
My job.
All right, wait.
No.
All right. So when your investment bank does something illegal, you convince everyone that it's not.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, I'll spare you.
It's okay. No, I work in like. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you have parties ever? Do you ever have parties?
Yes, the finances parties are like a big part of it. We call it social networking.
Is it like Wolf? Are you guys doing quaaludes and shit?
No, it's not like that at all. It's like it's way more boring than you actually think. Like we don't do shit. Sorry. The team that I work for doesn't do shit. The people I work with, they party a lot more. Especially the fact that they're dealing with large amounts of money and like clients of the business.
Well, I'm debating whether or not we should end this call right here, or if we should talk about finance for 3 more hours.
I mean, I would love to. Lyle,
let me ask the chat.
Okay.
Let me ask the chat if they have any questions, and while they're writing questions, sure. You can ask me your questions. So what are your questions?
I want to know if you. So I watched the documentary on you, and like.
Oh sure.
I'm a big fan. I listen to you like all the time, especially on my commute to work. Do you have any pets?
Do I have any pets?
Yeah.
You sound like you're trying to get into my bank accounts. I have a dog. No, that's not true. That's not true. I don't have a dog, but back home, my parents have a dog, and I consider that my dog. It's the dog I grew up with.
Oh, what type of dog?
What's the other question?
Oh, okay. My girlfriend just wants to speak to you.
Oh, sure. We'll ask her the questions from the chat.
Hi, Lyle. He put me on to your chat, and I work in finance as well, so I just wanted to say hi. Yeah. You
guys are dual income, no kids?
Yeah, we're dinks, whatever the fuck they call them. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys are DINLOL. Wait. You're dual income, no League of Legends. That's when you'll really be financially free.
I had no idea he spent that much on League of Legends.
You had no idea. You had no idea he spent that much on League of Legends. What do you think about? What do you think about that spending?
Good for him, I guess. It makes him happy, but at the same time, I'm like, what the fuck? You've spent so much money, so that's how I feel.
All right, I'll ask one more question from the chat. Where did you guys go to college?
Oh, we can't answer that, but we went somewhere that wasn't a huge place where financial firms went. So we were the underdogs, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, we had scholarships. Both.
Is there anything else? Is there anything else you guys want to say to the people of the computer before we go?
Andre.
Nothing. Just like be kind to people. Honestly, like we're all going through this shit show together. So just like be kind to people. Like you're gonna live a much happier life if you just are nice to everyone that you meet. So, anyways, I've learned that from like being in New York, like because there are quite a bit of rude people here. But like,
I don't know. You ever see a guy? You ever see a rude person who actually looks like they're having a pretty good time? You know what I mean?
Honestly, no.
Somebody, I don't. Have you ever? Have you ever? I yelled at an insurance company on the phone the other day, and I actually that felt pretty good.
Oh, really?
So I be kind to people, but find a little
scam
pockets.
Call, or was it like a scam call, or was it like just a insurance call?
I'll talk to you soon, Andre. Thank you for calling.